Just going to do a quick oil change on the Raptor, 2014 Roush Raptor. So what you'll need is 7 quarts of oil, and it's the SAE 5W20 from Motorcraft is what it's recommended, but you can get whatever you want. And then of course the oil filter, we just got a Canon one, but this is going to be FL820S, so get one of those. So we're just going to get started on the oil change, and we'll also be doing the tonneau cover. Tonneau cover needs replacement because it's falling apart, so we'll do that after this. I'm just going to leave it kind of loose in there so that the air can be sucked out. Drain the oil, and we're going to get the right wrench to do that, and we also have a drain pan to catch all the oil in. So I've got my oil pan here, and you'll need a 5/8 for the back of the pan. There's a bolt there, and be careful not to burn yourself on the exhaust because I drove it around a little bit to get the oil warmed up. If you have a rag, might as well keep it clean. Got a little bit of oil on my glove. I'm gonna reach behind this bar, just let it drain. And when it does gush out, when you take the bolt off, but now it's pretty warm on my fingertips. I may need a rag. So I got my rag now. I'm just gonna put it over the bolts. So we'll let that completely drain. We'll then clean up any mess I made over here and put the bolt back in. Then we'll take the filter off, and there's a special little plate. Alright, so to take this plate off down here, you've got 4 bolts to get access to the oil filter, and you'll need a Torx T40. And now we have access to the oil filter up there, and there's a little plastic piece that hangs down that allows the oil to drip down. So we'll need to move our oil pan over here so that we can catch the oil. But before we can do that, we'll need to put the bolt back in so that we don't drip anything on to the driveway, which we already did. Use our oil filter wrench and get the oil filter out. And our oil pan is actually already quite full. You can actually see the oil coming out of the hole, so we may be putting the oil filter in a separate Ziploc so that we can actually return this oil and drop it off at AutoZone. So now I'm going to loosen the oil filter, and the oil, if there's any still in the filter, is going to drip down this little plastic slide, and it should come out right here. It is a little windy, so it may get a little messy, but that's what this slide is for. So I'm going to get my arm in there. I'm just going to loosen. Loosen it enough to where it'll start dripping, or you can get it by hand. I'm going to check to see if I can turn it. It's still a little tight, so I'm going to turn it some more. That should be loose enough. Surprised nothing is leaking yet. It is hand loose, although it is kind of warm. So here we can see some oil coming out. Let me move this a little bit. Gonna let most of that drain, and then I'll take the filter out. And just before you think it comes loose, I would recommend maybe getting a rag so that you can hold it. And I'm gonna try to put it in a Ziploc. Alright, it's about to come loose. Put it inside here. And for some reason it dripped on me too. Now this, I would say, was kind of rushed. Normally I would wait till this stops dripping, then you wouldn't really make so much of a mess. Also, since the temperature of the oil is so hot, it's just really runny and just makes a big splattery mess. So now I'm gonna wait till this actually does stop dripping, and then we'll put in the new filter. Now on the new filter, what you want to do is, if you have a new quart of oil, just dip your finger in there with a glove or something, and then you want to just lube up the seal. It makes it easier to get on and not damage the seal, and it makes better contact as well. So so we'll do that after this stops dripping. Looks like it actually stopped dripping already. So I'm gonna dip my finger in there. Now we'll want to put the filter in there and get it hand tight as you can with your hand, and then maybe do a quarter of a turn with this to tighten. But if you can get it really snug with your hand, then that should be all you need. Now we're going to get the oil out of the way and put on the plate again. Just going to start all these bolts by hand. Make sure that they are getting in the hole. These bolts do not have to be extremely tight, just hand tight, hand snug is good. So there, I can't turn anymore. I'm just going to do here. That's as far as it goes for me. So quarter of a turn. There we go, quarter of a turn. There we go, quarter of a turn. All right. close everything up here. Make sure there's nothing under there. Later we'll want to double check to make sure nothing's leaking. So I may park in a different spot. And I'll show you how to reset your oil. Let's see. Turn my ignition on. Turn off my air conditioning. So this is what we were seeing before the oil change. Just says, you know, check your engine oil. And press this OK button to clear that. There's settings, vehicle, oil life reset. Okay. Now we can set it to 100%, and then you just hold OK to reset. Set oil life to 100%. Okay. So that's how you reset that. I'm gonna be driving around a little bit just to get the oil warmed up and then check for leaks. No leaks.